If you like this episode, please subscribe, share with others, rate and review so we can continue to bring you great programming.
This is The Thing About Cars, a podcast for car enthusiasts and the people who love them.
Except for that one time. Except for that one time that my grandmother was reading her Better Homes and Gardens medical guide from 1976 and was extremely worried about her prostate.
Yes. I've actually seen an old medical text that differentiated the menstrual cycles between blondes and brunettes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, to give you an idea, this particular Better Homes and Gardens medical guide said, well, if a woman smoked before she was pregnant, it would be unreasonable to ask her to completely quit. So it's like, I'm like, okay, sure. Yeah. All
Since
right.
you started recording, you are planning to edit this part out, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, come on.
On this week's installment of The Thing About Menstrual Cycles.
Yeah. Although I honestly now think the show title should be maybe you should try some cranberry juice.
Right. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Thing About Cars. I am Mickey Desai, surrounded by a table full of greats today. Dave Pauly, how are you?
Terrified of where this show was going based on the pre-show. The pre-game has me seriously questioning decisions I've made in my life.
Misty, how goes it?
I'm pondering ocean spray now.
Okay. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Also available in Europe, so we're good.
Tim, how are you, sir?
Doing well, as is my uvula.
Yeah. Your uvula.
Yes.
All right. So just quick housekeeping things. I am still planning to go to the car show and cruise in on Saturday, October 7th. I'll probably get there around noon. I'm hoping the rest of our crew can join in. It's just a simple car show, no theme really. It's a fundraiser for Boy Scout Troop. So I'm going to go. I've made arrangements to interview their organizer and just to talk about cars. No agenda, no real agenda. So
I was a Boy Scout once.
Really?
And a Girl Scout.
So
I was a Boy Scout.
I was a Boy Scout.
I had a friend who was once a Cub Scout.
I was actually a Boy Scout and a Girl Scout at the same time.
Wow.
I was a really, really fabulous Boy Scout. That's about as close as I could come.
You wore that neckerchief well, I'm sure.
I bet that was a level of panache that has yet to be equaled in your hometown community.
Not many boys out there could bedazzle their uniform.
Is there a badge for that?
I'm sure there is a badge for that, yes. So the other item of housekeeping is Saturday, October 28th, and we all should be there from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Italian Car Day. It's tons of eye candy. It's fun. It's easy. It's not a gargantuan show, so there's not like too much to see. It's just, in my mind, this car show is one of those shows that's just right.
All those who are listening, it is one of the best car shows.
Yeah. And it's probably just a day of leering at Lambos and fondling Ferraris.
That does happen. Yes. There's
and molesting
also
Maseratis. Is that
licking Delancia.
Yeah.
It's actually, you guys are describing all of the terms of my restraining order.
But it's not just the new stuff. I mean, certainly this show is held at a dealership that sells those things, but there are also vintage cars there. So there are vintage Alphas and some really old Ferraris and just really good stuff to look at that you don't see in modern car making at all anymore. And the people are very nice. They love to talk about their stuff as usual. But I always lust after what's that car called, Dave? We had two of them sitting in front of us last time with their engines exposed. They're not Vectors. They're Panteras.
Panteras.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I was about to go over to the Bugatti side of things.
Well, there was a Bugatti just past the Pantera, and that's where my mind went first. But the Panteras were we were looking right up their tailpipes.
Yeah, it was magnificent. It was absolutely.
And we get to the origin of my restraining order.
I'm starting to understand this a little better now.
So we don't have a guest for today. I'm still working on a couple options, a couple of people who've reached out or I have reached out to whom I've reached out, and haven't nailed those things down yet. But
If I had
post
a hammer,
I did post
I'd
something
have
on my Facebook page asking if folks had car questions, and a few things did come out of that. Yeah, Dave.
Trivia.
Oh, trivia.
You blow it.
That's
Yeah,
true.
actually, this T really means Tim. Pay attention to Tim.
Right.
And then Tim is like, trivia.
Tim, take it away.
All right. Our trivia question for this week. The first compulsory car insurance program was introduced with the Road Traffic Act of 1930 in what country? Is it A, Brazil, B, Germany, C, the United Kingdom, or D, the USA?
Oh, man.
Compulsory insurance, automotive insurance, 1930, Brazil, Germany, UK, USA.
Okay, we'll answer that question after the show. I have a guess already, but
This offers an opportunity for us to offend whole nations again.
Yes. It's the highlight of my week.
Right.
Yeah.
But at least we know it's not the Netherlands. So
Right. That's
No,
yeah.
we just had actually Tim mark
Yeah.
this down. No drive Sundays in the Netherlands.
Is that just for like city centers or?
No, find a trivia question that centers around that.
Okay.
No, actually, I will because I kind of already have an idea on this. No
Okay.
drive Sundays.
No
Okay.
drive Sundays. Okay. All
And
right.
we
We'll
can
answer
actually-
Tim's.
Oh, I was gonna say maybe we could even start a whole episode on the push from cars to public transportation in different countries around the world.
Oh.
Do you think a No Drive Sunday show would be as exciting as our No Pants Sunday show?
But
That's every Sunday.
I was about to say every Sunday is No Pants Sunday. Dave, are you falling behind? Are you slacking on the ethos of the thing about cars?
Y'all are lucky I have a shirt on.
Okay, good.
Are we ever? That's
Same.
Well, yeah, I just wear a shirt because it's getting chilly here and nobody needs to see all that.
Okay. All right. So we'll answer Tim's question at the end of the show. But I posted something on Facebook that said, send us your car questions. And a few things did show up. Nothing really earth shaking. But I also saw Tim yesterday. And Tim, when he
Lucky.
first, indeed,
Yes, we are.
when Tim showed up to when Tim showed up to the party, I was watching a gentleman, a neighbor, change his brakes. So we both went to a friend's birthday party, and the friend's neighbor was changing his brakes, and he needed some tools, and I happened to have one of them that he needed. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking over his job as he's doing it, and this guy is doing like the fastest brake job known to man. He's just swapping out pads on the front end, not the back. So if he had the right tools, he probably could have done the entire thing in 20 minutes. He was really going that quickly. But without the right tools, it was just, a headache. And yet I'm looking over his job, and in the engine compartment, he had taken the lid off the brake fluid reservoir. And I thought, oh, his lid is missing. I'm like, no, it's right there. He clearly has taken it off. And I looked at him, and he said his explanation. And I was wondering if you guys had a guess as to why he took the lid off his brake fluid reservoir while he's doing a brake job. Tim, you had a solid guess. Does anybody else?
I was going to say it had something to do with air in the brake lines.
That would be my guess, is air in the brake lines.
Tim, what's the answer?
Okay, so when you push on your brake pedal, you have the master cylinder that's up at the top of the engine compartment that's connected to your brake pedal, and it pushes fluid from that cylinder and reservoir down into the brake line into your calipers. Now, every time your brake pads wear a little bit, your pistons and your calipers have to move in just a little bit more to take up that space. And so the area behind them is filled with more hydraulic fluid inside the body of the caliper. And so when you finally get down to having worn down your pads to the point where they need to be changed, you have these cylinders with all the fluid built up behind them, and they have to get pushed back in to make room for the new pads with all their fabulous friction material attached. So you have to find a place for that brake fluid to go. And there's one of two thoughts of how you should take care of that situation. First off, you have to push the pistons back with usually like C-clamps or something similar. And if you just take off the cap on the master cylinder reservoir, or you don't even necessarily have to do that, but all that fluid will go back up through the brake line and back into the master cylinder. Except this is old brake fluid that's been heated up a lot of times and is not in its finest form. And also, you got bits of little rubber debris and other junk that ends up, always goes down towards the lowest point in the system, so that you're forcing that back out from the caliper into the master cylinder and around the seals of it. So when you get all that debris up there, it's going to increase the wear rate of the seals in your master cylinder. So instead of doing it that way, you can actually just open up the bleed screw on the back of the caliper and push all the old fluid out there. Because typically when you do a brake job, you should bleed your brakes anyway. And then you have nothing but fresh fluid that's come down, and you just refill your master cylinder at that point.
In this guy's case, he wasn't bleeding the brakes. He had just simply opened up the top.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's, and you can generally feel the difference on the firmness of your brake pedal and your efficiency of stopping when you've got new fresh fluid in your system. Because as brake fluid ages, it tends to absorb water from the atmosphere. And
which is very, very bad.
Which increases which lowers the boiling point of the brake fluid. And so if you're coming down a large hill or do multiple repetitive hard stops, you can end up boiling the brake fluid, and that gives you no brakes at that point. Your brake pedal goes straight to the floor, and your car just continues forward without stopping.
I'm starting to think that explains 285.
Not this week.
No, that's the inability to go, not necessarily the inability to stop.
Well, you've also got the ubiquitous ladder.
Yes, there's always a ladder or
mattress.
Or livestock.
Or a cooler. Yes.
Livestock.
Yeah. Livestock.
Yep. Very nearly ran into a mattress last night. It was
free-range mattress?
Free-range mattress. Came out of
mattress. Yes.
Yep. All right. So the next thing is thank you, Tim. Good explanation. Yeah, that's all he was doing was let the system breathe while he put in new pads.
Well, my first thought was he was just going to burp it.
Well, he wasn't doing anything with the pedal itself. He was just changing the pads. We got him a clamp so that he could put the caliper, the two pistons back in, and that's all he was doing was replacing the pads. Nothing else. Literally nothing else.
I have to say that's the one thing that I've never done, and one thing that I've never been interested in doing. And I can, with the exception of brakes, I can do a full tune-up on the 1978 Toyota Corolla, including changing out the distributor cap, the rotary button, gapping the plugs, changing the plug wires. Although, as I've said before, I did have to brace my knees on the bumper to get the oil pan, plug tightened down, because I was like this big. Well, actually, I'm still this big, but I just happen to also be this wide.
Yeah.
No, actually, it is the one thing I have done. When I was in high school, my father made me change out all of the brakes on a 1978 LTT Ground Victoria.
Wow.
And that was enough to convince me I wanted to go to college.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't even get my driver's license until I could do the full basic tune-up, which was, my mom's like, you're not getting your driver's license to take care of your car. So, that was checking the oil. It was a standard transmission, so that went beyond standard tune-up, but being able to take care of my car, and I got tired of the car at one point. I think I ran that damn thing 3 quarts low of oil for like 2 years. It sounded like a sewing machine, and it would not die. That car would not die, and I'm just like, Jesus.
I feel the same way about Mitch McConnell.
Fair point.
I'm pretty sure he's not running on a full oil tank.
Not anymore.
So Dave, thinking back to your full 4-corner brake change, do you remember the degree of difficulty between doing your front disc brakes and the rear drum brakes?
I remember that the front were more difficult, but I also think we started with the front.
Oh, okay.
And To be honest, I was young and stupid and really wanted to do anything else on a Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was also like February, because that's what my father would think. Hanging out in the garage working on the car made perfect sense.
Right.
Well, that's a hell of a motivator right there to get it done fast.
We should, and this was in Ohio, so we should be clear. That even though my father was a great father, there is nothing in the world so fun that my father couldn't find a way to turn into an ordeal.
Yeah.
My father attends the rapture. He will piss off 4 people.
That
sounds like my grandmother.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
today on the thing about therapy.
Yeah. Right. Tim, why do you ask?
Because typically doing a brake job, the fronts there's only 2 bolts involved usually in doing a brake job on the front. It's the 2 bolts that hold the caliper, onto the hub, and you slide that up out of the way. Sometimes you only need to remove one of the 2, and the whole caliper just swings up away from the disc, and you can put the pads back in. Whereas on the rear, I would say most vehicles up until the 90s, they had disc brakes in the front, drum brakes in the rear. And the drum brakes in the rear are held in by a complicated mesh of springs and rods that are, as I say in any repair manual, well, here's how you take everything apart, and installation is the reverse of removal. And it's one of those where you can forget, like the spring has one long rod at the end of it, one short rod, and if you flip it around, it doesn't work right. But there's you can still get everything back together that way, and it's the more frustrating for me of the 2, because I don't have that photographic memory of, oh, here's exactly how it looks. So people who try to rush a job will often take everything apart on both sides at the same time, and then you don't have anything to use as a visual reference to go back and do that. But luckily, most modern vehicles have 4-wheel disc brakes. It's not nearly as hard as it used to be.
As you were saying this, I'm starting to have flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not pleasant ones of my father screaming obscenity. So he may have done the rear ones himself.
Well, I mean, I think that obscenities is a mechanics thing, because I think my mom said she was 7 or 8 years old before she realized the goddamn son of a bitch wasn't a tool or a part that was either lost or broken.
Yes, there's yeah, I hear that from a lot of mechanics where no matter what the part is, it has an effing in front of it. It's like,
yeah.
That's right.
Well, trust me, yesterday, and I have to say this because I am so proud of myself. I changed out the kitchen faucet because it still had the separate hot and cold taps, and I want the little lever so I can perfectly have that perfect mix of warm water, because I'm a pretty princess. and I only mumbled to myself, like 8 times. But I got it all changed out. It's all set. I got it, figured out, because I was trying to connect it through the countertop, and the faucet kept. Then I was like, hold on, wait a minute. I know how to do this. Grab the 2, little tubes, and was holding it there, and I did it. I've never done any plumbing before in my life, and I was like, and there's no leaks. I've checked, no leaks.
Nice.
And now, it works.
Did you YouTube it first, or did you just dive into it?
No, I just read I just RTFM.
Okay, nice.
See?
There you go.
If you read the manual, I mean, it wasn't difficult, but but keep in mind, I was also having to crawl under the sink, and I couldn't find my little headlamp thingy. And I don't want to know what this previous faucet went through, because it was disgusting. And then I had to go bathe in bleach. But I was trying to get it off, so I was up there trying to see, and because it had a totally different connection system than the faucet, but I did it. And I also hung 2 shelving units. I still have to hang the ventilator hood over my stove and the cabinet above that, but that might be tomorrow morning before I go to work.
So let me bring this back to
cars,
to automotive plumbing. You're right. My own car has been leaking something terribly bad for the last couple months, and I was assuming that it's oil, but I think it's power steering fluid.
Oh, you're so screwed.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just replaced the pump earlier this year, and I've been checking the fluid oil levels all along, which is why I'm thinking it is power steering and not just oil. And I have known for a while now that there's a leak coming off the left side of that engine, and I should probably get in there with a pressure washer and just hose it all off, hit it with a degreaser or something to see where the leak actually is. But the alternator's right there, and I don't want to screw up the alternator while I'm doing this pressure wash. In any case, it's a brand new pump. I can't figure out where the leak is coming from, and I'm just going to have to take it back to the shop and get it worked on. However, this whole ordeal, combined with the necessity to drive to and from Macon for the next week for work, makes me really strongly think about doing an impulse buy and buying my next car tonight so that I can drive it somewhere tomorrow.
Nikki, we've known each other for 4 years now, and you've been talking about replacing this bloody car. You can hardly describe this as an impulse buy.
I was about to say, we have been discussing this. I'm pretty sure if we were to go back in the archives, we've been discussing, just this year.
For a long damn time. That's true.
It's like January.
I didn't think as hard about my thesis as you think about your car.
So
I didn't think this hard about my divorce.
Yeah, this one drop of power steering fluid is like the straw that's breaking the camel's back, right?
Totally. It's totally the time necessary. It's like, I'm going to have to drop the thing off. I'm going to have to rent a car. I'm like, why do I want to rent a car for $100
for renting
a day?
a car, you could parlay that same amount of money into the down payment on a
okay, because
exactly.
My question, and this is the exact same question that I asked my best friend when she had come into some money and was driving this smart car that, it was doing everything but falling apart, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure there was judicious application of either bubble gum or duct tape. So, and I kept saying, I was like, Lori, my God, take some of this inheritance that you've just gotten, go buy a car, a new, it doesn't have to be a new car, a newer model, because I think hers was like pushing 20 years old,
right.
Buy something, and my God, buy something fun. And then the final straw was she had to get a repair, and the repair was only like 1,200 euros. But that was more than the value of the car.
Right. Yep. That's the time when you switch to a new vehicle.
So think about this. Is this trip to the, what is the blue book value on your current car? Is this trip to the shop to have this repair done, plus having the rental car, and then you have to put fuel in the rental car? Is this more than are these two expenses more? Sorry for the British people.
No, the car's still worth it. The car is unfortunately still worth it. So it's a Honda. It's a 2005 Honda Accord, right? It's an appliance. It's not fun to drive. It's a means to an end. But the blue book value on this is still higher than the cost of the repair plus the cost of a rental plus gas.
Here's a challenge to all of our listeners.
Yes.
Please come steal Mickey's car. Yeah. It's a mercy killing at this point.
At this point in time, at this point in time, I would potato the hell out of the tailpipe just to put it out of its own misery.
Kablam.
Yeah,
that would be, yeah.
Yeah, so if you need to get the address for Mickey's house where his car is parked outside, just send a self-addressed stamped envelope.
Put it on the back of a $100 bill.
Right,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you've been like I said, you've put more thought into this car than I put into a divorce. I'd been with my ex-husband for 25 years.
Mickey's car is almost 25 years old, so...
I have not decided which car to get. So here's the stupid part. Here's the really stupid part. All of this is stupid.
As opposed to the rest of the show so far.
Is this an intervention? Something tells me this is turning into an intervention.
It could be. So watching this guy work on his truck last night. Truck is in great shape. It's a 2004 Chevy Colorado with
at least it's a Chevy. God bless him.
400,000 miles on the one engine, and it's in fabulous shape. It's in fantastic shape. Some paint here and there that needed some help, but the engine itself was, I'm like, if he never replaced it, never had to have any major engine work done, which I'm astonished for a Chevrolet engine for 400,000 miles, no gasket work, no nothing. And I'm thinking, I could drive this. This looks like fun. It looks like it's useful. It just spoke to me. That car somehow spoke to me, this truck. And so now I'm thinking, do I just drive to the Chevy GMC dealership and get a Canyon? Was their mid-sized truck. Their mid-sized equivalent is the new 2023 Canyon. Do I just do that and forego the whole sports car pursuit?
Just go out and find a decently used El Camino.
I love you.
Yeah, there's the
preferably
rub
in
though.
yellow.
You can find an El Camino, but finding a decent El Camino.
El Camino. Yeah. The idea was to make this simpler, Misty, not harder.
Yellow. It has to be yellow. There's literally a yellow El Camino that runs around Alphenumerain. And it just makes, and it's in beautiful shape. It's the yellow with the black striping and everything. Absolutely gorgeous shape. Sounds like a dream. I mean, it drives by and I'm sitting here wiping my chin because I'm just like, hello, I love you. But I mean, seriously, I mean, or what was that Subaru that was like the mini
Brat?
Elka? Yes.
Actually, in traffic yesterday, I was next to the Volkswagen pickup truck from the '80s. That was basically a rabbit with a pickup truck bed on the back. I was
or he should just go for a tuk-tuk.
That's not the best way to go to Macon.
No.
Okay. Good point. But
there's a young friend of mine who wants me to borrow his car. He's like, Mickey, just take it. Just borrow it for a week because he doesn't drive. He doesn't go anywhere during the week. I'm like, dude,
what is it?
It's a very, very new Honda Accord.
Okay.
And he's very proud of it. It's slick, it's shiny, it gets better gas mileage than mine does. He's like,
my
just take it for the
MX-5
week.
gets better gas mileage than your Honda Accord does.
Yeah, it does. But I don't want to borrow this man's car. I mean, never mind the liability. Never mind that I'm going to be putting more than 200 miles on it in a day.
It probably actually needs it. If I'm perfectly honest, he needs to blow the cobwebs out. I mean, my car has ridiculously low mileage on it. I mean, my car is 7 years old now, and I just hit 40,000 kilometers on it.
And do you drive to work every day?
No, I don't drive to work every day because otherwise I'd be putting 92 point something kilometers every day. I don't like wearing pants. I thought we'd established this. I work from home a lot.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Although next week I'll be going in because it's all company, all hands meeting, company party, whatever.
Hands oriented.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I just, up until, when I was still married, he did most of the driving, mainly because he didn't fit in the MX-5, and B, apparently I drive too slow on the German Autobahn, and C, I'm not driving in Italy, but it was his car, so he did most of the driving, but I understand, I mean, honestly, it probably does need some of the cobwebs blown out. It needs some just long distance, counting the cows as you're driving by, good steady RPM, not this stop and go city crap. It just needs some good highway mileage put on it. And if the guy's willing to let you borrow the car and you're comfortable with the insurance that he has, do the guy a favor, put some long distance mileage on it, some good highway mileage on it, and it's going to be better for the car anyway.
I actually agree with everything. I agree with everything you're saying, Misty. On the other hand, it will just keep him in another Civic.
Or Accord.
Accord.
Yes. Or Accord.
Yeah.
Accord.
I mean, that's
so I will drop the car off at the dealership tonight, and I will meet up with my friend and borrow his Accord for 2 days, and then I'll pick up my car and then immediately sell it.
But
yeah.
Caveat to this, and I think the three of us besides you are in. Here comes the really bad joke part. Are in accord on this. You're not allowed to buy another Accord.
Oh no, I definitely do not want another Accord.
Okay.
The only reason I have this one is 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, my sister said she didn't want it anymore, and she sold it to me for $500. And so I'm like, even 5 years ago, that was a steal, right? And so I'm like, sure, I'll take it. And
definitely got your money's worth out of it.
You've got your money's worth out of it.
Yeah, I mean, you've gotten more, because I think in 1988, 89, my 78 Toyota Corolla was $500.
So I'm wondering now if I should just sell this thing for $500 and let it go the way it is with the leak included, or do I fix it and then sell it for a higher premium and actually make some money on a car that I've been driving incessantly for the last 4 years?
Well, the question is, though, I mean, is there a charitable direction you could put this car in?
Nah.
I think it makes sense.
Not going to give it the BBS?
No. I'm sorry. I love the nonprofit world. As you know, I'm keeping the cash.
If they cancel Sesame Street, I hope you can sleep with yourself at night.
One on the board.
frog could go get stuffed.
Hi ho, this is Kermit the Frog saying you can blow me, Mickey.
This was a family-friendly show.
Well, we'll fix it in post. Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
By the time we take out everything questionable, this episode of The Thing About Cars will be the thing about.
Exactly. It'll be like 2 minutes long. We
Right.
could do the intro and the outro. Well,
So, which begs the
make
question:
it 5.
what kind
you
of
know.
car would Kermit the Frog drive? If you handed him a blank check, what would he go out and buy tomorrow?
A Pagani.
No.
Wait,
no.
a what? A what,
A
Dave?
Pagani.
No. I thought it was a 52 Studebaker.
Yeah, he drives a 52 Studebaker.
The one in the movies, yeah. But is that
Yeah,
Kermit's
but-
dream car?
But no, what's that damn little BMW that looks like a P?
An Isetta?
Yes, the green one,
yes.
the one that looks
Yes.
exactly like that's like to me that would have to be the Kermit mobile.
Sure.
I'm
What kind
still
of car
salty.
would Animal drive?
Anabu!
Yeah, 78 Camaro.
Then that's what I'm going to go
Um,
shopping for.
Well, I mean, actually, I think he would probably. Oh God, what was it? Crap, I can't remember. My brain has just deserted me.
I was
it
going
was-
with El Camino.
Yeah, the El Camino.
Okay.
Yeah, he would either drive an El Camino or he would drive the what's the German plane? What was the German plane?
Messerschmitt.
Fokker?
Messerschmitt?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that
Oh.
that little bitty Messerschmitt car that my ex-husband wouldn't buy me either.
I could pick that up and put it on my
Yeah.
back.
It comes with straps for a backpack. I mean,
You
know.
could put it in the back of the El Camino.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. The last question we have from the thing that I posted on Facebook.
It's a different podcast.
Do we have enough time? So there's two
Sure.
things, one of which can hit pretty quickly. The one is Adam posted this thing which was hitting some virality on the interwebs. It's a picture of a brand new Chevy truck that is parked on a line and someone squeezed in their Toyota next to it. And the guy who owned the truck allegedly said, "Why are you parking so close to my truck? I parked the way I truck to avoid getting my doors bumped. When you spend over $130,000 for something, see how you like it." So he's trying to preserve his $130,000 truck. When you park a larger car, is taking 2 spaces justifiable, or is it still a dick move?
It's a
Totally
dick
a dick
move.
move.
It's a
It's a
dick
dick
move. And
move.
I said that to someone who was parked because, like on the backside of my apartment is the parking garage for the grocery store. And it was a guy driving the Porsche, whatever the 4-door is, took up 4 spaces. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, you're a dick.
Right. And that's the I guess retribution dick move is to park your car with the passenger's door close to their driver's door so they can't get in. Of course, with that size Chevy pickup truck, they'll probably just walk on the top of your car and
Yes.
manage to roll down the window somehow and climb in that way. But
Right.
I'm sorry. It's,
I mean, everyone's an asshole here, right? I mean, the guy who parked on 2 spaces is a jerk, and the guy who parked right up against the truck is also a jerk. So,
Right.
But I
Yeah.
have more sympathy for the guy that parked up against the truck, especially, if parking is at a premium and that was
Yeah.
the last space in the parking, I mean, how many times, well, yeah, I've never, thankfully, witnessed that. How many times when I lived at the, at the old house, where we only had, because our city council's full of idiots, there was only like 0.8 parking spaces per house. And I would come home, later at night because I was in the office or whatever, and there was like one guy with this huge pickup truck, and he would always manage to take up just enough space to where I couldn't get my car into that empty parking space. And I'm like, dude, parking's at a premium already. Why you got to be a dick?
Yeah. And especially if you're parking your large vehicle in these spots that say for compact cars only.
yes. Yeah.
So I mean,
Well-
I think a lot. I mean, the world would be a better place if people would just take 5 seconds to, think beyond their own nose.
So,
But-
Well, that's the
we-
problem.
we-
This guy is thinking beyond his own nose. He's thinking he wants to preserve his truck.
right. And he's also saying that, well, anybody can park any way they want. So anyone who wants to be a dick on the back end of that is no less or no more dickier than the original instigator.
Dickishness begets dickishness begets dickishness.
Is that the new title for this episode?
That's the
I
That's
thought
the
that was a-
subtitle.
Yeah,
That's
The episode
the,
where we say "dick" over and over and over again.
I thought that was a Benjamin Franklin quote. That's
Good luck. Good luck editing this one, Mickey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Timothy
I mean,
Frog.
I'm sorry, if you want to be a bell end, same
We are in
category,
so much trouble with this episode.
I'm sorry. I have no sympathy. If you want to be a bell end and somebody is a bell end, in reaction to your bell endishness.
Right.
Wow, we're making up words here. I mean, you get what you deserve.
Sure.
yeah.
Hello. We just got a legal notice from Jim Henson's estate.
Cease and desist. Cease and desist.
All right, that's all we have time for today. Thank you, as always, for being a part of our listening audience. Oh, hey, yes, I'm getting the universal sign. Why do I keep forgetting this? Why am I like, all right, I'll shut up now. Tim, please.
Freudian slip?
All right, so back to our trivia question.
Yeah.
The question was, the first compulsory car insurance program was introduced with the Road Traffic Act of 1930 in what country? Was it A, Brazil, B, Germany, C, the UK, or D, the USA? Misty Walsh, what do you say?
I'm going to say I don't know that Brazil has compulsory car insurance to this day. I'm kind of waffling between the UK and Germany, but I'm going to go with Germany.
Okay. Dave?
It's interesting because in a previous episode, we established that the first insurance policy was sold in Dayton, Ohio, which makes me think it's the USA, but it really sounds more British. I'm going to go with the UK.
Okay. Mickey?
I am using the same logic as Dave. The word compulsory sounds more British than American. So just based on that one word, I'm going to say British.
Should have reworded it to mandatory. And then, yes, because it is the UK.
UK beat us to the punch on compulsory mandatory insurance. I wonder what was their logic. Why did they decide everyone had to have insurance?
They're British.
They're
British.
because they're
right, because they kept having people drive from across the channel and drive on their wrong side of the road.
Well, if they drove on the proper side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You noticed it wasn't Italy because Italian approach to insurance would be.
I don't think I still don't know that they have compulsory insurance. I think and that's something that just chapped my ass from 6 ways from Sunday when I moved here. Okay, I could not just switch out my driver's license, but the UK could. I mean, I had to take driving lessons. I mean, it cost me like $2,000. I had to take driving lessons, which on afterthought, maybe that's not a bad idea considering that roundabout in Amsterdam that's traffic
Right.
that's automobile lanes.
You spent $2,000 and how much time getting your license?
Well, I think it only took me like 3 or 4 months.
And did you learn anything?
Yes, I learned that roundabout in Amsterdam that is automobile lanes, bicycle paths, and tram tracks. I'm never going around that roundabout. That's what I learned. But no, I mean, I will say, with the bicycle paths, with the roundabouts here, because they've and Tim's going to get a laugh at this. They've recently started putting in roundabouts in Gainesville, Georgia.
Oh yeah,
people are losing their minds.
Right.
I mean, you would have literally thought that there was socialist medicine and death panels, and I mean, they're like. I mean, and people are also highly upset about not being able to talk on them. That they have to have hands free now on their cell phones.
Yeah.
When people,
many Georgians look at a traffic circle, and are just mesmerized by the complexity of it. It's like you would think they were trying to, resolve the Saw movie franchise.
Well, we're the same people who can't figure out when you come to a 4-way stop and the traffic is backed up in all 4 directions, which driver goes first.
Yeah,
it's the answer is typically whoever has the bigger pickup truck. But
well, yeah, I mean, but things like here in the Netherlands, like if you're, if the road you're on is less important than the road, than the road that's, the crossroad at the intersection, the more important road has the right of way.
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah, that right of way from the right. It's wow.
Yeah. No, my old commute used to include a 4-way stop where there was literally a 10-minute backup going up to the 4-way stop. and after there was a roundabout put in, became a 1 minute backup. So yeah, the roundabouts definitely work. And
They definitely work.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I did plenty of places here that they've installed roundabouts where like the left turn was just absolutely, you'd just be there for days.
Mhm.
I'm all for roundabouts. I'm all for, bicycle paths. I'm just like, and besides, it's so much fun when I'm taking that roundabout on the N207 and I straighten it out and my passengers scream.
Yes, I've done that a few times on those 2-lane roundabouts.
That's the fun part, man. That's absolutely the fun part.
I've
Although,
passed many a Mustang in the Chevrolet Astrovan. That's
yeah,
So
that's amazing. I'm so
I'm
proud
still
of you,
trying to
Tim.
work on a guest for us. I'm not sure that we're recording next week, but I'm still trying to work on a few guests for us, including this young lady in Slovenia who paints these really cool oil paintings of cars. I think she's just ghosted us for the last time. I think, I mean, I know she said, yes, I want to be on your show. But when I said, great, how about this Sunday? She completely didn't respond. And then when I wrote again and said, oh, how about this Sunday? Didn't respond. So I don't know. We'll try one more time. Otherwise, I'm going on to the next guest. So
Sounds like a plan.
thank you, Tim, for the trivia. Thank you, Misty, for the
international insight. That's it.
and Dave. Thank you for the Kermit.
Thank you for the cease and
Fair
desist
use.
letter, Dave.
Fair use. That's it.
Fair use. Fair use.
Well,
And to our listening audience, thank you again for listening. Stay tuned. As they say, we will have another episode for you in about a week. Take care, everybody. See you soon.
Bye, all.
Hey, everyone.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you for listening. This has been The Thing About Cars. We'll see you on the road.